Most gardeners believe the quickest way to boost yields is a bag of chemical fertilizer. But what if that shortcut is actually slowing your soil's natural recovery? Here's the truth. Relying solely on store-bought fertilizer can give you fast green leaves, but it doesn't restore the living soil beneath. Over time, it can degrade structure, leach nutrients, and leave your garden dependent on constant applications. That's a big reason why so many home gardens struggle to produce consistent, healthy yields. I've tested this in raised beds, backyard gardens, and even in hybrid systems, comparing controlled burning of crop residues and organic matter versus conventional chemical inputs. The results were eye-opening. Before I show you exactly what worked, there's a small tool that made understanding the differences far easier. I use a 4-in-1 soil moisture meter that measures soil moisture, temperature, pH, and sunlight intensity. In controlled burning experiments, soil conditions can change rapidly. Without monitoring, you risk over-drying, overheating, or unintentionally altering pH. This tool gave me real-time insight, so I knew precisely how my soil responded to each treatment. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. So here's why most gardeners, kind of miss the point with chemical fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers deliver nutrients immediately, which is why you see that quick green growth. But honestly, they often fail to improve soil structure, microbial activity, or the long-term fertility of your garden. In some cases, repeated use leads to salt buildup, compaction, or even reduced water retention. That's why beds that receive only synthetic fertilizer sometimes really struggle during droughts or heavy rain. Controlled burning, on the other hand, is a technique that's, been misunderstood and misrepresented in modern gardening. A lot of folks think burning crop residues is just plain destructive, but when it's done the right way, it can actually regenerate soil by returning valuable minerals, stimulating microbial activity, and reducing pathogens, all without relying on chemical inputs. So, let's talk about how I set up the comparison. I had 3 test beds. One received standard store-bought fertilizer, just following the manufacturer's instructions. Another was treated with controlled burning of dried plant residues, like stalks, pruned branches, and dried leaves, applied in a carefully managed fire. And the third was a hybrid approach, using organic compost with just a bit of light fertilization. So before starting any treatment, I went ahead and took some baseline measurements using the 4-in-1 soil moisture meter. I checked the soil moisture at several different depths, measured the pH, and kept track of temperature changes as well. Doing this really helped me get a sense of how each input would go on to affect the soil's microenvironment. So here's what happened with the chemical fertilizer bed. Right away, the plants looked really healthy. Their leaves turned a dark green, and the growth seemed, pretty vigorous. But by the 3rd week, a few subtle problems started to show up. The soil moisture dropped more quickly than I expected. The pH began trending just a bit acidic, and the microbial activity, measured by how fast organic matter broke down and by how many earthworms I could find, was actually quite low. This is honestly a classic example of surface-level growth kind of masking what's really going on underneath. The fertilizer fed the plants, sure, but it didn't actually nurture the soil itself. Over the course of the season, I had to keep applying more just to maintain growth, which ended up creating a dependency on those outside inputs. So what happened with controlled burning? Well, the controlled burn bed really surprised me. At first it looked pretty bare, and honestly even a bit scorched, but within just a few days the soil surface started changing. The ash added minerals like potassium and calcium directly to the soil, which subtly raised the pH and helped buffer acidity. Plus, moisture retention actually improved because the burn material helped create these tiny pores in the soil, promoting better aeration. Microbial life rebounded faster than in the fertilized bed. Within a week, earthworms and beneficial fungi were already active, breaking down the leftover organic matter. By the second week, seedlings in the burned bed were catching up to the ones in the chemically fertilized bed. And by the fourth week, growth matched or even exceeded the fertilizer bed, and the soil structure had visibly improved. This is where monitoring with the soil meter really made a difference. I could see that moisture levels stayed stable, temperatures didn't spike too much, and pH stayed right in the optimal range. These are conditions I just couldn't have known about without using the tool. So why does controlled burning work differently than most folks assume? Well, it's not magic. It really comes down to timing, intensity, and how you manage the residue. A controlled burn doesn't just incinerate everything, it actually removes surface biomass quite carefully, leaving the soil structure pretty much intact. Minerals are returned in a form that plants can absorb right away, and those microbial communities, they bounce back fast because the heat is, moderate and pretty localized. Now, let's contrast this with chemical fertilizer. Sure, you get a quick fix for the plants, but honestly, the soil itself sees minimal benefit, and over time, it can even get a bit stressed. So what about hybrid approaches? In the hybrid bed, where we used light compost plus just a bit of fertilizer, the results were strong, but the improvement in soil structure was a little slower than what we saw in the controlled burn bed. Nutrient availability stayed stable, but, the boost to microbial life and the physical changes in the soil happened more gradually. So this really highlights a key point. Chemical inputs, well, they're effective for fast growth. Compost is fantastic for improving long-term fertility, but controlled burning, if it's done safely and correctly, can actually accelerate soil regeneration. Safety and practicality in the garden are, absolutely essential. Controlled burning might sound a bit risky at first, but in small-scale gardening it's actually very manageable. I use dried non-woody plant matter, make sure to keep the fire low and controlled, and always keep an eye on both soil and air conditions. Personally, I always have a water source close by, and I only burn when the soil moisture is moderate just to prevent scorching. Monitoring with the 4-in-1 soil moisture meter is honestly critical here. Moisture, temperature, and pH can all shift pretty quickly during burning. By tracking these factors, you can avoid overdrying or altering the soil chemistry too drastically. So how does all this translate into real garden performance? Well, by mid-season, the differences were clear. Plants in the controlled burn bed had strong roots, uniform growth, and excellent nutrient uptake. Watering requirements were more consistent, and the soil retained a friable, crumbly texture. In the chemical fertilizer bed, despite some initially rapid growth root systems were shallow, the soil had less organic activity, and plant performance started plateauing without additional fertilizer applications. The hybrid bed was consistent, but a bit slower to show structural improvements. So what are the lessons for serious gardeners? First, soil regeneration matters more than just quick green growth. Fast foliage is nice, but without strong soil, it's just not sustainable. Second, controlled burning can actually be a surprisingly effective tool for regenerating soil in a sustainable, low-input way. But it really has to be managed carefully. Third, tools like the 4-in-1 soil moisture meter make these methods precise. You're not just guessing about moisture, pH, or temperature, you have real data guiding your decisions. So, here are some practical takeaways. Using controlled burning for crop residues or dried plant material can really help return minerals to the soil and improve its structure. Be sure to monitor your soil carefully for moisture, temperature, and pH levels. You can combine this approach with occasional organic inputs if needed, but remember, chemical fertilizers alone just don't build healthy, resilient soil. For gardeners working with raised beds, this method works especially well since the soil volume is manageable and you can easily observe changes. In larger gardens, you can carefully burn small plots over several sessions, and if you're using containers or setups similar to hydroponics, adding ash and residue can be beneficial, but you'll want to measure carefully to avoid any nutrient imbalance. Just a few final thoughts. This experiment really reinforced a principle every serious gardener should understand. Soil biology, structure, and resilience are just as important as nutrient content. Quick fixes might feed your plants for a moment, but they rarely regenerate the whole system. Controlled burning, when done the right way, brings life and structure back to your soil, helping you grow stronger plants, manage water better, and support sustainable growth. If you're looking for more hands-on, results-driven gardening techniques that go beyond just surface-level tips, go ahead and subscribe to the Husbandry channel. And hey, share this with any gardeners you know who rely heavily on chemical inputs. They might be surprised by how much power they're missing right under their feet. Soil regeneration isn't just a theory. It's something you can see, measure, and actually build in your own garden.